afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are. It's a pleasure to have you here, guys. We are back, the Consciousness in Evolution program brought by Reaprendência International, and we have here two special guests today, Fabiana Cerato and Jacqueline Cohen. Please, Fabiana, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Fabiana Cerato. It's a pleasure to be here. This is the program Consciousness in Evolution that is represented and organized by Reaprendência. And today we have a special subject to be talking and chatting with you guys, which is about Conscientiology. What is the science? We are going to talk also about the pillars of this important science. And to talk with me, I have Jacqueline Cohen here. I would like to welcome her.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here.
Great. So Jacqueline Cohen is graduated in urban planning and master in urban design. She was born in Sydney, Australia, and currently lives in Foz do Iguaçu since 2014. She's a volunteer of Conscientiology since 2007 and a teacher since 2009. She's a Penta practitioner since 2016, and she's the co-author of the book English-Portuguese Glossary of Essential Conscientiology Terms. And as I mentioned, I am Fabiana Cerato. I am graduated in architecture. I am specialized in positive psychology, didactic and methodology, project planning and building, and I have been a self-knowledge researcher and a Conscientiology instructor since 1997, and I am also the mom of two daughters. Currently, I am entrepreneur, architect, interpreter, and a writer. And it's great to be here, to be talking with you, with my nice colleague, Jacqueline. So if our hostess could place the slides for us, great. Okay. So now let's start addressing a little bit quickly, talking about the Reaprendência, who is the center that is organizing this live today. Reaprendência is a non-profit organization specialized in conscientiology and education. It offers classes, cultural, and specific events on teachers' formation, personal growth and development, energetic balance, and many techniques related with parapedagogy.
Okay, so I'm going to do the next slide. So here in Conscientiology, the main principle or motto that we talk about is known as the disbelief principle. And it includes this idea: do not believe in anything, experiment, have your own experiences. So basically, what is this? We ask you, the listener, the viewer today, to not accept what we are talking about, to maintain a critical thinking, to reflect, to ponder, to question things, and of course to have your own experiences. So it really puts the responsibility into your hands. See if you think what we talk about is logical or not. And and with all these kind of subjective experiences that we're talking about, it's multidimensional experiences, it's really key for you to have your own experiences in order to convince yourself that they exist. So so this idea of, the script that we are given, society gives us, that our family gives us, of being born, growing up, getting married, having children, dying, all of this. Is this all there is to life? Is there something more? So Conscientiology, it responds to this question that yes, that there is something more, that there's something that we can go beyond, we can do things in a different way.
That's why Conscientiology is also a very pragmatical science. It is totally connected with the scientific paradigm that we are going to explain shortly. but it's above all the consciousness studying herself or himself. So, and what's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of studying consciousness? The answer is huge. It's not a simple answer, but we can start by saying that is perceiving reality, aiming evolution, and opening a new window for perceiving yourself. But how to perceive yourself? Not only in a physical paradigm, in a larger paradigm, opening for different paradigm and a different approach that we are going to explain soon.
So we have a definition here of what is conscientiology, and I'm going to read it. So conscientiology is the science applied to the study of consciousness in a comprehensive, integral, multidisciplinary, multicultural, multidimensional, multi-temporal, multi-existential, holothosenic, holomnemonic, holobiographical, holokarmic, holosomatic way, and above all, according to the reactions to the immanent energies and the consensual energies, as well as the multiple states, levels of acuity, and conditions of manifestation through self and hetero research of mental somatic paracerebral attributes, paracerebrology, and consensual phenomena in general. So as you can see, it's quite a complex definition, and we don't expect, for those people who are new to conscientiology here, or seeing a live relate to this topic for the first time, we don't expect you to understand. However, we would like to just give you this definition to show you that conscientiology is complex. It does include many different components, those of which we've listed, and some of them we're going to be going through in this live. But it's a more concise definition.
And why conscientiology is complex? Because conscientiology is the science that studies consciousness. We are not simple human beings. Our consciousness, our individuality, our ego, our soul, who we are, it's full of details and full of complexity, information that we can open the door and understand more about ourselves. I'm sure that the word self-research, self-knowledge is not new for most of you. And I'm sure that we all want to be happy. We all want to understand better our life. And there is nothing else to understand than a person, than the person itself, himself, herself. So here is the invitation once again. And this word conscientiology first appeared in 1981 in this nice book you can see in my right. The book is a projection of the consciousness, although this book was written in Portuguese because Instructor Vieira was born in Brazil. This book now we have available for you for free download in English. And this book is his diary about out-of-the-body experience. He would be popping out of his body with total lucidity. And so in the chapter, Transmental Discussion, he talked for the first time, actually he says, it's about time that we need a science. We ought to create a science to study the micro-universe from the consciousness. So this is conscientiology that is together with a very important pillar, which is called projectiology, which is also the science that study the out-of-the-body projection, which is basically this book. And so Instructor Vieira is the proposal of conscientiology science. He was born in 1932, and he is dead already. He died in 2015. He was born in Minas Gerais. And he was a very lucid projector. What is a projector? It's a person who pops out of the body with lucidity since the age of 9 years old. So with his age, he already perceived that we are more than our physical reality. although sometimes we talk about self-research from the physical point of view. There is much more, right? So we are going to see soon.
So Valdo Vieira and also many other different authors of Conscientiology have written a number of books, but this image here that we're showing you are those books that Valdo Vieira wrote, and you can see here there's 2 treatises which are really like thick books related to the out-of-body experience, also known as the science of, the lucid projection, projectiology, and also a treatise related to conscientiology. And so it really does give that range of phenomena, ideas connected with those two major sciences of conscientiology. And then we have also Our Evolution, which talks about or answers those, 5 fundamental questions that, people have been asking since, the beginning of humanity, such as who am I, where did I come from, what's my purpose here? There's a number of questions, and so it answers it from that multidimensional point of view. So it's a very nice, easy book for those people who are wanting to know more about conscientiology, and so it's a good book to start with. And then we have here all these different treatises, some of which I've already mentioned, and others. So those ones that I mentioned before, they're in English. There's a number of books that have been translated to English, and then there are others that are in Portuguese that still need to be translated. But you can see here, it's a lot of information, a lot of content that has been written and is ongoing over time.
Yes, and although we have a lot of information, it's important to start, right? So what is the beginning? The beginning is understanding what is a paradigm, because to study yourself, it's too, so to say, it's too shallow to study only by the physical perspective. We need a larger perspective. So what is a paradigm? So a paradigm is the view of the world through a particular prism. Here we are talking about the scientific paradigm, and the scientific paradigm is a scientific model which includes theories and methodologies adopted by the community of researchers, right? You can see in the image, he is looking and researching something, So this scientific paradigm, this paradigm is a set of concepts and procedures trying to describe our reality, and also explains how we can research and how research should be conducted. But we want to talk about another paradigm, which is in a way connected to the scientific paradigm, but is broader, larger than the scientific paradigm. Although we use a few investigation tools that are very important to perceive better ourselves as a scientist. So we have our own laboratory, which is our consciousness. So let's explain that ahead.
So in order to understand the consciential paradigm, it's important to do this comparison between the regular science or the conventional materialistic paradigm that most of us work with, that have been born into, that we think about the world in terms of that paradigm, and this new kind of paradigm that we're proposing, which known as the consciential paradigm, which conscientiology is able to use and apply. So first of all, the current paradigm, so it only accepts physical matter. So anything beyond physical matter, or that which can be perceived by the 5 senses, does not exist. So it ignores all of any phenomena such as intuitions or clairvoyance, seeing through the third eye, or the out-of-body experience, or, you know, any of these non-physical phenomena. It ignores all of that. And so within the consciential paradigm, we want to expand, we want to accept everything that the physical paradigm accepts, but go beyond that. So then encompassing this wider, this broader multidimensional reality, not excluding it from the, you know, our research, our, you know, the scientific approach, the scientific lens. Yes, it's not as easy, because we're dealing with more subtle phenomena, we're dealing with subjective experiences, but we can still approach it in a scientific way, right? In a technical way. And so we have here, within the consciential paradigm, we see that there are 7 major premises which, you know, uphold the consciential paradigm, or we can say pillars, like the images are showing that. And so it includes, you know, these broad categories such as the holosoma, and we're going to be talking about this in a little bit, the different bodies of the consciousness, bioenergies, the energies which go beyond the physical dimension, multidimensionality, seriality, which is connected with past lives, cosmoethics, this ethics that goes beyond the social ethics, the human ethics, universalism, this concept of expanding beyond, you know, our small reference or community, going beyond, and the self-experimentation, which is something crucial to conscientiology and crucial to our own personal evolution.
Yes, and the first pillar, which is as important as the others as well, it's the essence here is to understand and to perceive that we have 4 bodies of manifestation. We are very used, we live our day by day with this physical body. We are used with the matter, no? We are used with dense substances. So for us, that's all there is. And it's not, there is much more, no? So we have the soma, which is the body we all know, no? Here to the left, you can see the image, no, with the soma. And then we have the energosoma, which is the conjunction that we can also call holo chakra. So this body here, you can see it in the color yellow. It's the conjunction of all the chakras that are connected with our physical body. They are vital to our life. We cannot live without energy. No? Although sometimes we suffer the effects of energies, but we cannot live even without knowing or being aware. We need energies to live. We have the third body, which is transparent, right next to the yellow one, which we call it psychosoma, which is the emotional body, which when we go out of the body, this is the body that usually we use. Although we can also go out of the body with our mental soma, which is the fourth body, which is the one with a round shape next to the transparent one, which is the mental soma. So we can either go out of the body with the psychosoma, or go out of the body with the mental soma, or just send some energies, spread and lose some energies. Usually when we go to sleep, we lose, we relax, and then one of the bodies, they tend to go out. And if we have lucidity, we will be able to perceive. This is what we want. So now my colleague will talk about the bioenergies.
Okay, so bioenergies. So this is the energies that surrounds all living organisms, and that is permeated throughout the universe. So we see that beyond the physical matter is this bioenergetic dimension, right? And we see that there are 2 types of energies that exist. in the universe. We see that there is energies from the nature. So we can see here in this image, we can see a tree, and it has like an energetic field or aura surrounding the tree. And all trees, all plants naturally have, emit this natural energy, right? The energy from the nature. And you can see this person here, and she's actually perceiving, putting her hands close to the tree and perceiving those energies. And anyone can do that, right? They just need to, it's a very nice way, easier way to perceive energies by actually trying to, perceive those energies from plants or from the tree. And so we have energies from nature, which also comes from like the air, from the ground, from the water, and even from the cosmos. And then we have the energies that come from the consciousness. So the consciousness, you, me, all of us, we emit energies. We emit energies through, for example, when we think, when we feel things, and then we emit this information through our energies. So we're always emitting energies all the time, even when we're sleeping. And so it's this constant, wherever we go, we are also exchanging energies with other people. Okay, so we're kind of like living in this energetic bubble, we would say. And yet the energies, they contain information. So there's a certain quality to the energies. They can be more positive or more negative, right? And we experience the impact of those energies in our day-to-day lives. So if we encounter people, a person, for example, who is feeling, very positive and happy about life, optimistic, then we will feel that positive effect, right, when we encounter them. On the other hand, if we meet someone who's, feeling down or upset, then, we exchange our energies with that person. We will suffer those consequences as a result. So what do we do when we have that exchange of energies? Because it's inevitable. We can't, it happens naturally. But yet we can understand that it's happening in a conscious way, or we can kind of remain ignorant about it. That's why it's important to become more aware, so we know that it's happening, and then we can take certain measures to kind of renew our energies, right? So it's when we absorb these energies, it's known as assimilation. When we're able to remove these energies or to kind of clean our own energetic sphere, then we are de-assimilating the energies, and then it's important to learn how to do that. So the question is, how do you deal with your energies in everyday life? Do you just accept? So if you're feeling all of a sudden tired or depleted for no reason, when a moment ago you were feeling good, this means that maybe you assimilated those energies, and then, there are different techniques that you can apply to actually clean your energetic sphere, so as to say. So we have here these different techniques. You've got, for example, the circulation of energies, which is a movement that goes up and down the body to kind of unblock the chakras and just clean the energies. Then we have also, if you move the energies really fast up and down, you can achieve what's known as a vibrational state, which is like an optimized energetic condition to reach. So you're going back to your energetic baseline. Then you have an exteriorization. Fabiana mentioned that you're sending your energies out, or you're absorbing the energies. So you're bringing the energies back into your body from the surrounding environment.
Great. And now we talked about the holosoma, the conjunction of the bodies, and we talk about the bioenergies. And those two pillars, they are totally connected with multidimensionality pillar. What is the meaning of multidimensionality? For us to understand the meaning, we have to think about the ways usually people experience life. Here we can see that we are talking about phenomena. We have here in the left, you can see clairvoyance. You can see and you can see out of the body phenomena. You can see children also trying to connect or making a connection with the extra physical consciousness. So those phenomena we can experience once we understand more about this multidimensionality. In the next slide, we have the difference between mono and multidimensionality. So I want to reinforce the difference so we can understand when I am applying multidimensionality and when I am not applying multidimensionality. So the monodimensionality is our day by day. It's our to-do list. We go to the supermarket, we work, we go to the gym, we talk with people. And we are experiencing life from the monodimensional point of view. We can do the same, experiencing life from the multidimensionality, meaning whenever we talk with people, whenever we go to work, whatever we do, we can perceive the energies, we can perceive the phenomena, we can use every multidimensionality phenomenon in our favor. This is the difference. So there are two ways of experiencing life. Monodimensionality, only seeing physical, and multidimensionality. When you experience that third pillar, you pay attention on the effects, on the resonance of your thoughts, sentiments, and feelings. You see that whenever you go to world, whenever you go to the universe, to the planet, whenever you talk with people, everything you do, everything you say cause an effect. This is paying attention on multidimensionality, right? Even in the picture in the nature, you can see the lady sitting down in the tree, experiencing nature. She can also not only on top of feeling the breeze, which is great, feeling the wind, she can also feel the phyto energy that my colleague Jacqueline mentioned before, right? So we have this opportunity. And experiencing and living under the multidimensionality pillar means that I experience all the dimensions and I pay attention on the effects, on the multidimensionality effects that everything I do. So this is also a very interesting opportunity and a very important pillar from the study of the consciousness, from this conscientiological paradigm.
Okay, so the next pillar is seriality. So what is seriality? It's this continuous and long series of lives that we all have as a consciousness until the point when we no longer need to come back to this physical dimension, right? We no longer need to be reborn. But we see that as long, long into the future. However, we have many past lives, and then we have our current life now. So we are reborn. We experience our life. Then we go through what is known as desoma, or deactivation of the physical body. We die. And then we have a period in between lives. And you can see here in the second graph, we have a period as an extra physical consciousness. And then before being reborn again. So it's interesting. I think there's a movie that I just recently watched, which is What Dreams May Come. And so it was interesting because at the end, they show this option to be reborn. So in order to continue, so what the purpose is, to continue to have new experiences and and to evolve. So this is very important, this idea of seriality. And we can have memories, although we can't necessarily, from the conscientiological point of view, we can't actually go back to the past. but we can have memories of our past lives. And so if we're able to have those memories, it can help to confirm to us that, that this concept of seriality does exist, and that we are a consciousness who have had past lives and will also continue to have future lives. So, so we understand that we have been we've taken on many different roles and genders, and been in different civilizations and cultures and religions. So taken on different professions. So who we are today, we see as being very complex, and it's an amalgamation of everything that we experienced in the past, right? And so who we are today, sometimes people think, oh, I am, this, I am that, taking on the human labels that we've been given or we've taken on board in this current life. But we are so much more than that. And this seriality process and this remembrance of past lives can help us to show that we are much more complex, and we have been around for a much longer period of time, and that we are immortal, that we will, not cease to exist once we die, that our physical body, is deactivated. So my question to you guys is, do you remember who you were and what you were doing in your past lives? So maybe have a think about it and see, if you can, and there's many different techniques as well to be able to have past life memories, which is known as retrocognitions. So I've given you like one reason why you should know about seriality, to understand who you are, the complexity of yourself, and to understand about, your past. So we are much more than who we are today. We gain this greater self-awareness. Another aspect is this idea of assistance, right? So to learn more about, it wasn't just us by ourselves. We were reborn with other people that were our families in past lives, that may not necessarily have been our family in this life, that maybe, have a different connection with us in this current life. Our friends from the past, our relatives from the past, to understand that our group karma, we call it, is much bigger than we can ever imagine. And yet probably in the past, understanding human history, there was a lot of things that, we probably didn't do so well, that we stuffed up, we acted in a not very good way. And we need to reconcile these differences in this current life. So maybe one of your family members that you don't get on so well with, maybe it's indication that in a past life, you did something bad with them, they did something bad with you. And in this life, it's an opportunity to, once you know about, maybe the details and all of that, even if you don't know, it's still an opportunity to reconcile differences or assist, right? Clean up the past. And another idea is this idea of evolution. So once we know, that perhaps we had some talent, some strengths that we really, developed in previous lives, maybe we're not using to the full potential in this life. And so understanding, I do have that potential, and to integrate that more within yourself, as well as recognize those weak traits, those things that, that you can improve, right, in this current life, that you're still repeating life after life. So to help to become more aware of that process and to overcome these things in this life. So the next pillar is to do with cosmoethics. And what I would just mention is there is a difference. The cosmoethics, the ethics of the cosmos, it's something that goes beyond just the social or religious ethics, the human ethics or law and punishment, all these things. It goes much beyond because it incorporates this multidimensional reality. It incorporates this, the idea that, you know, just by our thoughts, our emotions, we can affect other people in a positive or negative way. And this is connected with cosmoethics as well. How you treat yourself, how you treat others, you know, even not even by the acts you do, but by your thoughts alone. So it's something that it includes, you know, the emotional, energetic, you know, what you do out of the body. You know, people, all of this is not included. It's not included in the human social ethics. So we need to understand that it's a much broader, more complex aspect, and something that we all develop within ourselves over time.
We might, Jacqueline, I was thinking here, in order for us to understand a deep concept such as cosmoethics, we might consider dividing the word into, as we have here, cosmo and ethics, and we might start by thinking on ethic per se. So what is the ethic? What is the practicing? When exactly I am an ethic or a non-ethic person? We can say that being ethic means that reflecting about our own actions. And it would be better if we reflect before acting. Usually people do something, no, in a zip zap, and then after a few days, they will think about it. No, the best is use this capacity of reflection and reflect before you act. Even before you think, no, consider the consequences, the effects of our thoughts, our sentiments, and our emotions, and especially consider how you manifest yourself towards others. How is your presence in the environment where you are? So this is a question for us all to think. Whenever I am talking with people, do I have this tendency of being hard, judging, complaining, criticizing all the time? How is my presence in the environment? Am I a more balanced, more mature, more controlled person? I help to add and to like pull the people up, you know, to make it better, make this environment better. This is in a way of being a cosmoethics. Whenever we think about the ethics together with the cosmos, we are considering the conscientiological pillars that we are talking here. This is why this cosmoethic is applying ethic beyond the physical body, beyond the physical dimension, as we have here, no? So how do you think about ourselves and others? This is one question. Another question, how much do we consider the multidimensionality when making decisions? This also goes together with the cosmoethics. Does our thoughts and actions, they reflect our personal values and principle? This is something interesting. Sometimes people stay 10, 20 years in a working with something that they don't like. And they don't even stop and think about their own self-cosmoethic, self-affection, how they feel about it, no? And they are just, no, I need to work because I need to receive money. And then we go like robots. So conscientiology, once you focus to yourself, we want you to not act as robots anymore and think about your own cosmoethics and others' cosmoethics. We have courses to explain that better. This is just a briefly explanation on this important pillar.
Okay, and the next pillar is about universalism. So this is a really important concept of conscientiology, and it's this increasing connection and deeper understanding that we have that goes beyond just our own consciousness, our own self, and expands out to other consciousnesses. including consensual principles, which are, I guess, a less evolved consciousness of the plants, the animals, all these different consciousnesses in the universe. So you'll see here this diagram on the right. It helps to explain a little bit about this expanding sense of universalism. So we need to think about how do we see others around us? For example, how do we see people? Usually we get on well with people who think like us, who act like us, who have, similar ideas within our own group, whether it's our own ethnic group, religious group, who have similar values and principles to us, right? And so how do we start to see people who are different to us? And so, for example, who maybe don't necessarily, like talking about evolutionary levels, who maybe have an evolutionary level that is, higher than us or below us in terms of how, for example, a person who does not treat other people well, or who is a thief, for example, and we don't agree with those sorts of behaviors. We wouldn't steal like that necessarily. But how do we think about these people? Yes, we want to have a critical mind. We want to, we don't want to enter into those sorts of activities. We don't accept it. But yet, how much do we respect that consciousness? How much do we have that empathy for those other consciousnesses who are different to us?
Yes, can I just comment on that, Jacqueline?
Sure.
I think it's important to make a difference here. For example, you might not agree with a thief, as you mentioned, and you might not bring him or her to your day-by-day conviviality, but we also need and could respect him or her. This is important, and this is totally connected with universalism. Mm-hmm. It's not because something is next to us doing something that we perhaps dislike or even hate, that we are not going to respect that person. So diminishing people, which is a tendency that perhaps in the past we did, or sometimes we see ourselves doing, it is totally the opposite with the universalism concept. This is what we don't want. We want to embrace and understand people. Of course, there are some discernment, as we talked before. We talked about reflection. Of course, we need to know what are my values, what is important to us, even talk with people that act totally different than us and respect, but we don't necessarily need to bring to our house, for example, right? This is the difference, no? It's not about just being blind and accepting everybody. No, it's accepting with some sort of discernment, some sort of acuity, perception, no? But yes, respecting all sorts of evolutionary level, as my colleague mentioned, right, Jacqueline?
That's it. Mm-hmm. So it can be, for example, different evolutionary levels. It could be, for example, extra physical consciousnesses. How many people have fear of extra physical consciousnesses, or don't treat them like you would treat other consciousnesses that were in the physical body, right? So, what is your preconceived ideas, your beliefs, in terms of this group of consciousnesses? What about extraterrestrials? If from what we understand in the experiences by projectors, and that there are encounters with those consciousnesses that come from different planets. And so how do we, if we ever came across an extraterrestrial, how would we react? How would we react? They look so different to us. They think differently, act differently, yet there's still a consciousness in evolution, right? They still have that same need to evolve. And so there's that underlying universalism, is to understand that there is that we are all consciousnesses. We have this aspect in common, we're all consciousnesses in evolution. We're all on this journey together in a way. Different cultures, different religions, different, people have different deficiencies or sexuality or social classes. All of these things encompasses this, concept of universalism.
That is the big challenge, no? Respecting the differences, respecting what others think, even about yourself or himself, no? Embracing that and to a certain point, try to understand, because once you understand him or her, once you understand others, also help you to understand more, and vice versa. Once you understand yourself more, you will naturally understand others more.
That's it.
It's a very interesting concept there. When you were talking, I was thinking a lot about cultural intelligence and like a cultural sensitivity. But as universalism is a more broader concept, because it includes evolution in the equation. And evolution makes the whole difference, because whenever you evoke this intelligence in yourself, you are going to help and resonate to other people as well, right? And that reminded me of that movie, The Groundhog Day, where the guy lives the same day over and over until he lives it in a certain way, with
a proper way
of ethics and so on. So I guess that we are all living a lot of Groundhog Days until we wake up and
makes sense.
Make sense of the whole situation, right?
Yeah. And in his case, learning how to be less judgmental about, those people, and respect, and to have a greater understanding and interaction with those people around him. Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Very.
Yes, and this is totally connected with self-experimentation, which is the last pillar, because we talked about reflection, we talked about being cosmoetic, universalist, knowing about our bodies, our lives, many other lives. So this life is an opportunity. We live other lives, so we can embrace this opportunity and really invest on ourselves. Really invest on self-experimentation. It means developing this habit of reflecting, develop this habit of self-criticism, myself, analyze others, establish some sort of discernment, analyze the perceptions and the para-perceptions. They arrive, the para-perceptions are here. No, Jacqueline mentioned the bioenergies. The bioenergies are all around us. So what is great here is the opportunity of self-experimenting everything together. We don't need to stop and think, okay, now I'm going to think just about bioenergies, now about cosmoethics, now about universalism. Go all together. Of course, it's important to understand this theory and experience this theory. And with the time, you mature on all those pillars and you understand better. So this phrase, I think, therefore I am, I like it. It comes from long time ago. And we still are in very need of this cogito ergo sum, right? We still need to self-perceive ourselves more, understand more how we work, how we function, and the connections we have, the desires we have, and how is our life. Just to wrap up, I remember I was helping in a course about the existential program, ProAxis. And this course is to help people to balance about their own life. What is good, what is bad, what's going on, in which sense I can improve. So this is the application of self-experimentation. It's perceiving, where am I? What can I do to make myself better? So once am I better, the rest of the people around us will feel the difference and will also receive the good vibration from that. And to connect with what we just mentioned on self-experimentation, we talked about beginning versus consolidation. The beginning is what we mentioned, right? Knowing every pillar one by one, applying this principle of disbelief that instructor Jacqueline mentioned at the beginning, applying, putting all in practice. And then little by little, we are going to perceive, what am I, which is this expression. So how do I perceive myself as a consciousness? For us to perceive ourselves as a consciousness, it's important to, once again, enlarge the paradigm. Pop out from only the physical, only the scientific paradigm. Use the good stuff. There are so many good things about the scientific paradigm, and apply to the conscientiological paradigm, including bioenergies, including out-of-the-body experience, including past lives, including qualifying the conviviality among all, including not thinking bad about others, including paying attention on our thoughts, sentiments, and ideas, and the repercussion of all that. So this is the difference between beginning and consolidation in terms of perceiving myself and ourselves as consciousness.
And there's an interesting movie, Doctor Strange, right? We have some images from this movie, because he started out being this character, he started out being very skeptical. He was a medical doctor from the conventional materialistic paradigm, and he was very, he'd hurt his hands, I think, in a car accident, and he could no longer practice medicine. And eventually, I think he made his way to this monastery, and, they were talking about this different type of paradigm. They were, and at first he was very skeptical, because he'd been, how can I say, indoctrinated in as most people are, that, the non-physical doesn't exist, the multidimensional doesn't exist. So it was only when he had this experience where this guide, the lady in the top picture, actually through her energies pushed his psychosoma out, right? So kind of like a projection. He had a projection. And then through that experience, he was able to see, through his own experience, he was able to confirm that this really did exist, and it opened up his mind. It changed his paradigm, right? He started to open his mind to this new way of perceiving reality. So, but of course, this is just a start, the start, right? For him to really take steps and to improve his abilities, he needed to train. He needed to train a lot. And it's the same with us. We're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to be able to, have these greater perceptions, or to, develop our parapsychic abilities, and which will help us in our own evolution, all these things, the out-of-body experience, without actually training for it, to, having these daily experiences, perceiving things, and incorporating that into our reality, improving our cosmoethics, our discernment, all these things. So we say that, yes, go ahead.
There is an interesting scene in this movie, Doctor Strange from 2016. The first one they launched is, I remember he is very, very serious now. He affirms there is no such a thing as a spirit. And then she sterilizes energy and bring him out of the body. And then he comes back and asks, "What have you placed in my tea?" And then she said, "Just tea. It's your nature." So.
Yeah, exactly. And isn't that interesting? That's a very important idea. The fact that, it's not for the gifted or the special people. It's for us. It's a part of our nature, our paraphysiology, really. that we're able to have these experiences. But if we want to, you know, experience them more, or become more aware of them, because they can sometimes be subtle in nature, we need to develop these abilities. So very good. And then linked to this idea of self-experimentation, we have this campus here in Foz do Iguaçu, which both Fabiana and me, we live in Foz do Iguaçu, close to the campus. And it's a huge self-experimentation laboratory. You know, it's got lots of little, if you can see in the picture, there's a circle of little houses, little structures, which are the laboratories. And so you can go and perform self-experimentation, you know, just you by yourself, on different themes, whether it's to have an out-of-body experience, to experience a vibrational state, you know, many different types of, like phenomena related to past lives, and help you to understand these different aspects of yourself as a consciousness, right? And, you know, we have this kind of not like a snake, kind of an S kind of a building, which is like it's known as it's like a big library in there. So, you know, it's got a very optimized energy field to, you know, if you want to research and you want to sit there and reflect. Maybe the Tertuliarium, Fabiana, if you would like to mention.
Yes. This round yellow auditorium, it can fit 400 people. We call it Tertuliarium. It's Tertuliarium, it's a Latin name, because every day we have a different tertulia. Tertulia is a presentation. It's when you write something like an article and then you defend that, you present that, and we call it tertulia. So it's like a presentation and people are there to debate. And we have every day a different subject. Of course, they are in Portuguese, but we do have available interpretation. So if you feel you are interested, please get in contact with us. You can find the CIEC campus webpage. Just type down, send a message. We have many interpreters that can help people coming. And in the future, who knows, maybe we will have tertulias in English, right, Jacqueline?
Exactly. It's a possibility in the future. We work for that.
I am aiming for that as well.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to, what I want to reinforce, Jacqueline mentioned the laboratories, those little houses. I want to reinforce that you might consider, wow, why I don't test at home and why I need to go there? Because there is sort of optimized. Mm-hmm. So for example, let's pick the out-of-the-body laboratory, right? So you go there, immediately when you lay down, you are out of your body. Why that? Because the energy that is all the time there, the energy of people going there and doing the same helps you, and it will help you perhaps to pop out of your body with more lucidity because the energy is there. The same with the technique that Jacqueline mentioned, energetic techniques. There is a specific laboratory to work with vibrational state, which is a very important technique. You go there, you can feel the strong vibration. So all this campus is prepared to help us to go deep in ourselves as consciousness. Meaning more than physical life, including all the aspects from the physical life, of course, we don't want to deny, absolutely, but enlarging, with other multidimensional aspects as well. So this is the invitation. We also have a hotel even next to the campus and one little hotel inside the campus as well for you to stay. So take like a week, 10 days from your life and go and visit there. You probably will like it a lot and it will help you a lot with your self-research. Yeah, and then we have it's just to reinforce, there are many conscientiocentric institutions. What are the conscientiocentric institutions? They are group of people interested on a specific ideas related with the consciousness, and they decided to create an institution. Like we mentioned, Campus CIEC, we are talking because Rea Prendencia organized this talk, so we have there the logo from Rea Prendencia. All those different logos are from different conscientiocentric institutions. We have Encyclosapiens down there. We mentioned Tertulliarium, so the institution who is responsible for every day having one different article is Encyclosapiens. We have Apex, the one next to Rea Prendencia, which we mentioned, that is specialized on dealing with existential problem, with your life problem. Also, they have courses focused on that. And anything else you want to mention, Jacqueline?
Yeah, I should mention that each of these, groups, they are based on volunteers.
That's good.
Those volunteers, so they feel like it's related to, their life purpose, the existential program that Fabiana was mentioning. And so that's why they exist. So people can connect to these different groups and go deeper, specialize more in these areas and contribute more, right, to the ideas. And yeah, so maybe I would just mention maybe like Consecutivas, which was related to the consecutive lives, to studying past lives and their influence on our current life. And then we have a CP, which is connected to bioenergies, to deepening your understanding, susceptibility, your abilities in terms of bioenergies. And I guess conscious. Did you want to mention conscious, Fabian?
It's interesting because conscious is specialized on studying the intra-conscientiology. So everything that is related with your thoughts, the way you think. We mentioned it's very important perceiving how we think. So conscious helped us a lot. They have a specific book that was written by Instructor Vera that is the base for helping us. This book is full with questions, and then you question yourself, and then you give a sort of a grade. For example, how much you live in harmony with your family, and then you give a grade from 1 to 10. 10 it's great, and 1 is if you have many fights and many problems. So the conscious helps us to perceive our reality the way it is, so we can establish a sort of diagnosis, and then from there we can qualify more. And just to wrap it up, I would mention UNISCON because they write a lot. UNISCON, it's also an important conscientiocentric institution because their main goal is helping us to write about our own experiences. So this is also something interesting to know. And once you write about yourself, it's like you see yourself better even. So it's interesting. Yes, I guess we have a video at the end, right? Yes. So if you guys have any questions, we went briefly about, we talked about so many important things and so many new concepts. So if you guys have questions, you probably will have, once you watched again this live, once you reflect about your life, get in touch with us. We are all in the social media. It's easy to get in touch. And don't miss the opportunity on investing yourself, on amplifying your self-research from a conscientiological point of view. So here is also a few books, and here is the invitation for that. So for me, it's all I want to mention. I don't know if you want to mention anything, Jacqueline, before the video. perhaps let our email.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, here it's our email. So if you have any specific questions about this live, you can send us an email. Feel free, either to Jacqueline or for myself. And for me, it was a great pleasure to be with you here. It's fantastic to talk about the self-perception and about our history and how we perceive better and better, how we can mature more and more as a person, as a consciousness. And we have 1.5 minute video now at the end to talk about a course that is going to happen in the next semester. If you are interested, you can also send an email. And for me, that's it. And it was a great pleasure to be here.
Conscientiology has as its principle two realities: the consciousness, which is the ego, the self, the individuality, and the bioenergies. Within these realities, one of the pillars of research is the holosoma, a set of vehicles for the manifestation of the consciousness. In this intraphysical dimension, these four vehicles act simultaneously together and at the same time. The first we call the soma, or physical body. The second is the energosoma, or energy body. The third is the psychosoma, or emotional body. And the fourth, the mental soma, or mental body. In this image, we can see the four separate vehicles, and within the different areas of study of conscientiology and the personal experiences of people performing self-research, we identify one by one their characteristics, their properties, and so that we can understand their functioning, objectives, and achieve a state of balance between them. This is an entry course with the basic concepts, with 20 lessons and being 50 hours in length. It is a complete course. If you have any affinity with the concept of the holosoma and the idea that we manifest through 4 different bodies in this and other dimensions, come and join this class. And for those who already know about conscientiology, you can take this time to recycle and study more. We hope to see you there.
Thank you.
So I want to just say thank you as well for the opportunity to, share this talk with you, Fabiana, and thank all the people that are watching as well.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Anna. You are on mute, Anna.
Thank you all for being here. It was great to have you guys, and I'd like to extend an invitation for the next live. It's going to be with Rodrigo Wolf. He's going to talk about chakras. That's another interesting topic to discuss. So thanks for having you guys here, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.